Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Newstrack. I'm Rahul. Kanwal. Prime Minister Modi attacking the opposition's use of India as an acronym. What do voters in India today's political stock exchange think about the opposition's use of India? Is this an idea that can click, or is this something that can backfire on the opposition? We'll bring you the results of the PSC tracker questions around this big political slugfest over the name of our country, India. And that's my top focus on the Newstrack.
Modi refuses to bend to India. PM breaks silence, returns fire. Links India to PFI, Indian Mujahideen. Has India set narrative war? India versus Modi. Big focus on Newstrack.
Here's a look at the headlines today. Home Minister Amit Shah writes to leaders of the opposition in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, says the government has nothing to hide on Manipur.
मैंने आज दोनों सदन के विपक्ष के नेता को पत्र लिखा है कि कितनी भी लंबी चर्चा के लिए मैं तैयार हूं। सरकार को कोई डर नहीं है। चर्चा जिसको करनी है मणिपुर पर, वो चर्चा करने है।
Congress versus Congress in Karnataka. 20 MLAs write to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah complaining about ministers not responding to requests for funds. DK Shivkumar claims plot to destabilize the government being hatched in Singapore. Government plans to counter award wapsi. Parliamentary panel recommends that recipients should be made to sign an undertaking, says don't make awards a political tool. NSA Ajit Doval holds key meeting with newly appointed Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Doval tells China to build strategic trust, says India is ready to work on the border route. Indian women's cricket team captain Harmanpreet Kaur suspended for the next 2 international matches and fined 25% of her fee for openly criticizing umpiring during the game against Bangladesh. The showdown over India as the name for the United Opposition Alliance is getting bigger. Today, Prime Minister Modi launched a massive attack, linking India to banned terror outfits like the Popular Front of India and even the Indian Mujahideen. The opposition says this is just an attempt to deflect from the core issue of Manipur.
Political sparks fly high over Manipur. The flares now engulf a nomenclature. The unified opposition's embrace of acronym India comes under intense attack from the highest level in the government. At a key BJP parliamentary party meet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made striking remarks. He asserted that merely using the word India would not suffice. The Prime Minister pointed to historical references such as the East India Company and the terror group Indian Mujahideen. The suggestion was obvious. India as an acronym could be misleading or even evoke negative connotations.
इस सदन में भी जब
The opposition fired back. Inside Parliament, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge accused the Prime Minister of avoiding the real issues, such as Manipur.
आज मणिपुर जल रहा है, रेप हो रहे हैं, मणिपुर में मकाना जला है, और आप वहां मणिपुर की बात हम कर रहे हैं, मणिपुर की बात हम कर रहे हैं, प्राइम मिनिस्टर ईस्ट इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं।
Congress leader Rahul Gandhi sought to shrug off the Prime Minister's stinging remarks. In a tweet, he instead pledged to work for restoration of peace in Manipur. Several other opposition leaders also countered the Prime Minister's remarks.
This sort of brute majoritarianism that you and your government are practicing, where you think you can say anything and do anything, the time has come, sir, that it is backfiring. All over, in every state of India, people are realizing what a dangerous choice that they made between the soul of India and between the BJP.
Only the Prime Minister is showing how anxious he is, how nervous he is, how he wants to escape the scrutiny of the opposition inside Parliament. He is afraid to speak inside Parliament, and that is why he is making these sort of illogical, intemperate remarks inside his own party meeting.
The name India for an alliance, a unifying force for the opposition, a subject of contention for the government. Manipur, meanwhile, awaits resolution. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, the fires burning in Manipur continue to singe the monsoon session of Parliament. Today, for the fourth straight day, sloganeering and disruptions continued. The opposition is adamant in a statement from the Prime Minister on Manipur. Here are the key highlights from the day's drama from Parliament.
क्यों आप इस पे बात करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है? क्यों मोदी साहब यहाँ नहीं आते और बात नहीं करते? क्यों अपनी बात को नहीं रखते यहाँ पर? क्यों हमको समझाते नहीं है? नहीं, वहाँ जो घटना घटी उसको बोलना चाहिए। बाहर तो बोलते हैं ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के बारे में, अरे मणिपुर के बारे में बात करो ना। ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी तो और बात है। और नहीं, आप देखो
Sir, it is pointless to expect him to come to the point because he has no point. He has a point to offer. The government is ready for discussion. We are ready to have a debate. We want a healthy debate discussion. We want to highlight the atrocities against women. We want to highlight what is happening in Manipur and Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. We are concerned all over the country what is happening. We want the state governments to be accountable. This is not a matter to be politicized. It's a matter to have a heart. संवेदनशील विषय है, थोड़ी संवेदनशीलता दिखाइए। महिलाओं के प्रति संवेदनशील नहीं है आप सिर्फ पॉइंट और पॉइंटलेस पॉइंट कर रहे हैं। पॉइंट होता तो आप चर्चा शुरू करते, पॉइंट होता आप पे दिल होता, आप पे संवेदनशीलता होती तो आज चर्चा चल रही होती, बजाय के आप 3 दिनों से 4 दिनों से सदन की कार्रवाई को खराब करना, सदन को डिस्टर्ब करना, और देश देख रहा है, पूरा देश देख रहा है किस प्रकार से आप देश के जो भविष्य है उसको आप खराब कर रहे हैं, हमारे युवा युवतियों का भविष्य खराब कर रहे हैं। अगर आप पे संवेदनशीलता है, अगर आप पे वो दिल है तो आप तुरंत चर्चा शुरू करिए और सबके सामने आपके कारनामों के बारे में पूरा पता चलेगा। When I was speaking, we saw the behavior of their members. They are not willing to listen to us. What is the point if they are not willing to listen to us?
The big face-off till yesterday was that the opposition was demanding a long duration discussion. The government at that time seemed to be suggesting a discussion with a limited duration. Now the Home Minister has made clear he doesn't care how long the discussion is and that Parliament is free to discuss as long as is required. The sticking point, though, is the opposition's demand that the Prime Minister speak on the issue of Manipur, which is something the government so far hasn't accepted. I want to go across live and exclusive to senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad as he joins us on the Newstrack. Ravi Shankar ji, namaste, welcome. I want to start by asking you about the demand being made by the opposition
Namaste.
that Prime Minister Narendra Modi who speaks as often as he does on various issues to do with the country and globally, speak on the issue of Manipur and your explanation about why the government so far hasn't accepted these demands from the opposition. Let's start from there. Ravi Shankarji, welcome.
First of all, you must understand the shifting goal of the opposition. They are keen for a particular rule, not the substance of the debate. Rajnath Singh, Honorable Defence Minister, twice stated on the floor of the House, we are willing to have a full debate. Today, Amit Shah ji assured the House yesterday, individually today again, that we are willing to have as long a debate as you want it to happen. Therefore, what is your problem? As regards the demand for the Prime Minister to speak, is it a genuine demand or a demand to humiliate the Prime Minister? I am putting this premise very bluntly to you, Rahul. You might recall that whenever the presidential speech is there, then the thanksgiving is done by the Prime Minister in both the houses. In the last budget session, the PM has an extraordinary intervention in the Lok Sabha. When it came to Rajya Sabha, your channel also showed it live. For 2 hours, the Prime Minister was interrupted. Narebaji hoti rahi. Did not allow him to speak. And I salute to my Prime Minister that he overcame all this and spoke for 2 hours. Are they willing to listen to the Prime Minister? Will they allow the Prime Minister to speak or cast all the abuses and run away from the House? That's their track record. The real point, Rahul Kanwal, is that Congress party today, I'm sorry to tell you that, a party with having so much of experience of governance, in the grip of a mindset led by Rahul Gandhi, that norms are alien to their thinking. That's the problem. And just to supplement your query, remember after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, he spoke in the parliament, वो मोहब्बत की दुकान खोजने गए थे and came back कहा कि हर जगह हमने एक ही बात सुनी, Adani, Adani, Adani. Then I was meant to reply as an intervener and I asked him as a question, आप तो मोहब्बत की दुकान खोजने गए थे, आपको अडानी का इतना नफरत देके कहां से आ गए? That is their double standard, that is their hypocrisy. But the larger issue is, Rahul, for the sake of India, today the simmering conflict in Manipur required balm of the unanimity of the House to reach out to them. That is important. And that would have indeed acted as a big balm. But I'm sorry, the irresponsible conduct of the opposition is there for all of us to see.
You would have seen, Ravi Shankarji, the Congress viraling old clips of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh when he spoke on the issue of the protests after the murder of Nirbhaya, the rape of Nirbhaya, and also protests in the Northeast, saying that Manmohan Singh used to speak. Now, here's the Prime Minister who has tackled every issue head on, and yet the opposition seeking to drive home the suggestion that he's running away, in the words of the opposition, from taking on the issue of Manipur. How do you look at this? The Prime Minister speaks about everything. As the country's leader, should he not be speaking out to the people of Manipur and trying to calm things down over there, getting two communities who you know are currently fighting with each other to try and begin the steps of reconciliation?
Let me put it in perspective. Did the Prime Minister openly appeal or not? What has happened in Manipur is devastating, is condemnable, and no one shall be spared. Did the Prime Minister also warn all the Chief Minister to be on guard against atrocity on women? And for kind, since you made a comparison of Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited Northeast 50 times. And all his ministers have visited 500 times. I also, as a Union Minister, visited Northeast many times. The development of Northeast, and are we getting elected and de-elected by chance or by the trust of the people? That's also a fact. And Mr. Manmohan Singh was the Rajya Sabha MP for more than 20 years from, I understand, from Northeast or Assam in particular. What happened? Let's not talk about that. But since you mentioned about the Congress record, I remember there was a big attack in Manipur. Hundreds of people were killed. And who replied in the House? MOS of the Congress government, not even the cabinet minister. I am not on finger pointing today, but since you asked that question, I'm only trying to put the record straight.
So the other,
if the opposition has the grace to allow the debate to happen, I think a positive message will go. Therefore, कभी रूल पर अड़ेंगे, कभी पीएम के नाम पर अड़ेंगे, हम कुछ भी कर ले बहस नहीं होने देंगे राहुल कंवल, जान लीजिए आप. मैं सॉरी आई एम टॉकिंग इन हिंदी. हम कुछ भी कर लें, they don't want the debate to happen because Manipur's pathetic condition is least of their concern. The concern is to demoralize the government, demoralize Narendra Modi, come what may. That is not a right approach, I am sorry to tell you.
the other question is about the demand for Chief Minister Biren Singh to step down. Given the fact that there is a sectarian crisis in the state, the Kuki community forced into the jungles, the Maithis and the Kukis no longer living with each other as they have for many decades, and the fact that this happened on the watch of Chief Minister Biren Singh, the suggestion that if this was an opposition-ruled government, by now you would have imposed Article 356, but because this is the BJP and because this would require admitting that there's been a botch-up, therefore Biren Singh still continues as Chief Minister, whereas no reconciliation is possible till he stays on. How do you respond to this, sir?
I think I have given you a very vague situation of conflict there, which is a community conflict, festering conflict. Now, a view can be taken rightly so that by removing the Chief Minister, are you going to apply the balm or going to aggravate the festering conflict? You know, Metis and Kukis, what is happening there? In my considered view, the High Court order was completely uncalled for, which led to the whole situation of conflagration. Therefore, it is a situation, Rahul, which has to be handled with care, with caution, with considering every implication.
No, but it's interesting that you say that the
It
High
cannot
Court
be a
order is
political
uncalled for
knee-jerk reaction.
because your government didn't take that position, Ravi Shankar ji. They actually came out in support of the High Court order which said Maithis would now be a tribal community, which is what led to this conflagration, and your Chief Minister has been accused of being highly partisan in favor of the Maithi community against the Kukis.
My reply is very simple. As a student of law, I went to that indication. Okay? Ultimately, Supreme Court intervened, stayed it, let's leave it there. But I am only going into the whole gamut of the background of the situation. Therefore, again I am telling you, let us handle Manipur with care and caution, apply the balm, and a parliamentary debate would have been the best option of consensus of bipartisan approach. But in the Rahul Gandhi Congress party in particular, bipartisan approach is something of a bygone era. You know it very well.
I'm going to leave it over there. Ravi Shankar ji, thank you for joining us. The important point there that you're making, and I haven't heard this from other BJP leaders, that you don't think the High Court order which really started this off, which the local government in Manipur actually supported in a big way, you actually believe that that is fundamentally wrong, and this coming from a very eminent lawyer of the stature of Ravi Shankar Prasad. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Rahul, I must clarify.
Yes.
I made observations on that High Court order purely as a student of law.
No, sure, I understand that.
Because
no, of course.
there is a whole process as to how a particular then you don't allow it to me as if I am castigating my Chief Minister. Sorry, that I didn't intend.
ठीक है, आपने बोल दिया, and people will draw their own conclusion. I'm not saying anything in the context of Biren Singh, but you're saying something about the judgment and your view on it as a prominent lawyer. Ravi Shankar ji, thank you for joining us. I want to put the point that the BJP leader made to Supriya Shirnath of the Congress as she joins us. We also have Sushmita Deb from the Trinamool Congress, and we've got GVL Narasimha Rao from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Sushmita, I want to go across to Supriya Shirnath first. This point that Ravi Shankar Prasad makes, that once the debate happens, and even if the Prime Minister were to speak in whichever floor of the House this may be, the opposition is highly likely to heckle the Prime Minister, abuse the Prime Minister, seek to embarrass the Prime Minister, and therefore the BJP says there's no point in putting the Prime Minister out as the opposition is demanding, because your primary objective is to look at embarrassing him. You've done it in the past, you'll do it again.
So India's Prime Minister was elected to speak in the US Parliament. India's Prime Minister has been elected to protect and preserve and keep him away from Parliament of India. Actually, Ravi Shankar Prasad used the word humiliation. It looks like India's Prime Minister finds it humiliating to address India's Parliament, which is actually a reflection of 140 crore people who send their representatives there. Is there anything more brazen, anything more shameless, anything more embarrassing than that you have heard? Is there any explanation for the fact that the government continues to sit on its high horse? The leader of the House in the Lok Sabha, India's Prime Minister, does not want to speak in Parliament, and his government is hell-bent on giving him cover firing. I also want to raise one very important point here. The Prime Minister did not look into or talk about Manipur from day one. It took him 78 days and a horrifying video to break his silence in the middle of an 8-minute, 25-second long sentence. He spoke about Manipur for 36 seconds and drew parallels that his troll army is today drawing. India's Parliament has embarrassed, India's Parliament has ashamed India by putting India and placing India next to a terror organization like Indian Mujahideen and the root cause of slavery, which is the East India Company. India's Parliament is meant to be respected, and India's Prime Minister continuously undermines Parliament, parliamentary democracy, parliamentary traditions, and may I dare say, India itself. That's the
GVL Narasimha Rao, the strongest suit of the Prime Minister in comparison with the likes of Dr. Manmohan Singh was that here's a Prime Minister who speaks his mind. He's unafraid. Now, the opposition is using Manipur to attack the Prime Minister at his strongest, which is his ability to reach out, to convince people about his niti, about his niyat, and saying, why is he silent? And I never thought I'd see the day when clips of how Dr. Manmohan Singh used to speak are thrown at the BJP saying, देखो मनमोहन सिंह बोलते थे, आपके PM क्यों नहीं बोल रहे? Why are you allowing for this situation to pass, especially given the Prime Minister's strong public speaking skills and his ability to convince people in Manipur and across about what your government is doing?
Rahul, first of all, it's shameful for the opposition to indulge in slander and to not allow Parliament to function. If there is anyone who's humiliating India's democracy, it is a party called the Indian National Congress, founded by a Britishman, founded by an Englishman. Okay, today they might want to give sermons to the whole world. Prime Minister has spoken on a number of occasions. Whenever a situation demands, he will speak. Let me show you a story published in India today. And I think you are a very, very important media group, and you have cited 3 instances when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh spoke on demand of the opposition. But I must tell you, please read that story carefully. This was about coal scam. Manmohan had to speak. He was the coal minister when the scam happened. He was directly responsible for the coal gate. So how could he escape from not speaking? And you talk about 3 stories here. On all the 3 occasions, Manmohan Singh was directly responsible. About appointment of CVC PJ Thomas. Who did the appointment? Who was on the committee to select the CVC? It was the Prime Minister. So certainly Manmohan Singh had to reply. Here you have a situation which demands the minister, Home Minister, to speak. That is the subject matter of his ministry. And we have a very powerful Home Minister. This is a government where Prime Minister is a leader of the people. He is not a puppet of 10 Janpat.
Okay, let Sushmita Deb respond to this, that the department belongs to the Home Minister. He's a very powerful Home Minister, and therefore Amit Shah should be allowed to speak. This is happening on his watch.
First of all, Rahul, at the cost of repeating myself, nobody is saying that the Home Minister of India can't speak in Parliament. What we are asking for is the Prime Minister should start the debate and speak in Parliament. Number two, I would like to point out that Amit Shah ji, the Honorable Home Minister of India, called an all-party meeting. All the parties went and met him very recently. You've seen that. It was in the media. Apart from that, Home Minister went to Manipur for 3 days or 4 days. He said he had taken all the appropriate steps. He has met all the factions. He has met the police and the armed forces. But what came out of it? So the question is, I am sorry to say, with all due respect to Honorable Home Minister of India, please do speak in Parliament, no problem with it. But Manipur is actually a situation of such gravity that the Prime Minister should speak, because it is nothing short of a constitutional crisis. And there is absolutely no reason why a Prime Minister should shy away from a debate. In fact, if he speaks, he gives a good message to Manipur, he gives a good message to the nation, and even a better message to the opposition that he has a plan and he knows what he is doing and what he plans to do.
Also, GVL, the Prime Minister doesn't just need to speak because Supriya Shrineth or Sushmita Deb are demanding that he speak, or Kharge or Digvijay Singh or anybody else. He should speak because the people of Manipur would like to hear what the leader of this country has to say. I was speaking to our reporters before this show, and as they go out and travel across Manipur, many people are actually wanting to hear the Prime Minister. So this is not just about politics. Opposition will do oppositional politics, but the people of Manipur would also like to hear what the Indian Prime Minister has to say to them and about them.
Rahul, I think as every countryman knows, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, is a hands-on Prime Minister. Every nook and corner of this country, every decision that the government needs to be made, he ensures that those decisions are made. And he has already spoken on an incident on that unfortunate, rather very shocking video that
but he spoke 70 plus days late.
Seen the reaction of the
he spoke after a video came out while Manipur was burning for many weeks. The Prime Minister didn't speak.
But this video, Rahul, as the Prime Minister, he doesn't need the counsel of anybody as to when he needs to speak, to whom he needs to speak, how does he bring a situation under control. He has the responsibility, he feels the responsibility, and he does it in the most befitting manner. We don't need some members in the opposition to really guide us on this. We have not contracted him to give us this kind of guidance. If they want, they can go and they can speak. Prime Minister will speak whenever he believes that his speaking on the subject, it does help improve the situation.
Rajat Sethi, do you think the BJP is doing the right thing by holding out on the Prime Minister speaking, or do they run the risk of turning the Prime Minister's biggest strength into seeming like a weakness?
Well, Rahul, I think it has become more of a war of narratives instead of actually resolving the issue at hand. If I, were to look at how the government as a whole machinery is operating, every arm of the government is right now in action. Right from the foreign minister who was in the ASEAN region, he was probably in Thailand, wherein he, spoke to and met senior dignitaries of the Myanmarese government to ensure that there is strict vigilance on the border. The defense minister ensured that all the required troops from the armed forces are there, and any kind of facilities or in terms of refugee setup has to be provided. The Indian armed forces would be there. The Home Ministry has been having several rounds of discussions and briefing the Honorable Prime Minister after every round of deliberation is happening by the two opposing communities. The community leaders are being ferried to New Delhi. Look at all these arms which are working in in sync with each other, and they are reporting to the Prime Minister. It's just that the Prime Minister is not obliged to come out that after every briefing that he gets, to come in before the media and say that this is the briefing I got. I think he has a plan in mind wherein he is looking
Let
at...
Supriya Shrineth respond to what you're saying. The top ministers meeting the Myanmari junta, trying to ensure that poppy smuggling from Myanmar, arms smuggling from Myanmar is brought to stop, trying to barricade the border in Manipur and elsewhere. What needs to be done, Rajat Sethi argues, is being done. The Prime Minister needn't give the opposition ball-by-ball commentary on what he's doing. Supriya Shrineth.
So there are three words that were used here by the BJP spokesperson and by the gentleman who just spoke, who happened to be the advisor. I'm presuming he's no longer the advisor to Chief Minister, would have advised him otherwise. Situation demands, only then will the Prime Minister speak. He's a very hands-on Prime Minister and he's not obliged to speak. No, sirs, he's absolutely obliged to speak. Manipur is an intrinsic part of India, a state of India that has been torn by strife and violence, where women and children, 60,000 of them, have been displaced, 142 dead. You are telling me that the Prime Minister doesn't need to take this country into confidence? You are telling me that the Prime Minister only needs to speak when a horrifying video surfaces and only for 36 seconds? You are telling me that the Prime Minister does not owe it to Parliament to speak? We are a part of parliamentary democracy. Please do not undermine the temple of democracy. And I will also tell you one more thing, Rahul. The Prime Minister chose not to speak on the anti-farmer laws. 750 farmers lost their lives. He eventually had to go back and withdraw those laws. That's the reality. The country is paying a price for the brazen arrogance and ego of the Prime Minister. ये कौन सी जिद है आपकी? आप देश के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, सदन के नेता हैं, आकर बात कीजिए. And I also want to point out one very important thing here. If you think your speaking is going to keep people quiet, it will not. The world is questioning your silence. The world is questioning that you're interested in speaking in other countries' parliament, but not your own. The reality is that Rahul Gandhi could visit Manipur, but you cannot speak a word, even appealing for peace. That's the reality of the country today. And you are
GVL Narasimha Rao, this charge that the Prime Minister addressed a joint session of Parliament in the US when he spoke to the joint session of Congress, but doesn't want to seem to do so in India when Parliament is in session. He should come forward and say, yes, I will speak. Why is this even a subject of debate?
No, Rahul, Parliament functions according to a dialogue and some amount of give and take. It does not work according to the opposition's blackmail. What the opposition wants to do is today to indulge in blackmail. And also what they are trying to do, this touching the Congress spokesperson's abiding fight in parliamentary democracy does not appear to be the slogan of Rahul Gandhi, their party leader. He goes all around the world talking down Indian democracy. He goes around the world seeking intervention of the Western countries, Western powers, in India's intervention in India's democracy, and suddenly you find great faith in Indian democracy on television debates. I think the Congress party must really tell the people whether they have faith in it or they have lost faith in it. Because you can't say, no, Rahul Gandhi goes around the world abusing India's democracy, goes around the world deriding India's democracy, and here you're giving us lessons in Indian democracy.
Supriya wants to just make a quick interjection. Supriya, 20 seconds.
Is exposing itself. We've been ready for a discussion from day one. We have been waiting for a discussion on this. What is holding the opposition back?
Please keep quiet, GVL. Because you want to discuss it under Rule 176 in a matter of 2.5 hours, and I think
you can't
No, Supriya, that's no longer right. The Home Minister has said he's willing under any rule for discussion for as long as is required. The Home Minister sits on the floor of the House. I heard this myself. He said, I am happy under any rule to debate as long as is required. The Home Minister said this today.
You have asked me to speak. So why does the Home Minister need to say it? Who is he trying to hide? Where is India's Prime Minister? राज्य जल रहा है और मोदी जी के पास वक्त नहीं है आकर. Where is he busy? What is he doing? I would like to know. He was roaming France, America, West Asia and Egypt when Manipur was burning. He knew all about it. He has intel. He has police. He has a
Not
system
on
that
holiday.
works for him.
Not on
Why
holiday.
did he not speak on that? Stop giving explanations for the Prime Minister. Stop hiding the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister needs to come out and face this country. And GVL Narasimha Rao, the next time you slander Rahul Gandhi, I will throw what the Prime Minister has said to you. Indian Mujahideen. That's what he has compared India to. How dare you give us lessons on India? You are anti-Indian and anti-national. There's never
No,
been a
he's
more
compared
anti-national
your
statement
opposition.
made by a man
You're
who
trying to
occupies the
hide
chair.
behind.
Keep quiet. You should apologize
Okay,
to this
no,
country.
Supriya, let's keep it classy. You've made an argument, let GVL
Come on,
Narasimha Rao now
stop
respond.
this.
Let GVL respond. This charge that when you use India, Startup India, Skill India, Digital India,
Yes.
Khelo India, Make in India, New India, tab theek hai. If the opposition
agents
uses
of
the
Indian Mujahideen.
acronym India, then you
Are they
start
agents of
comparing
Indian
them
Mujahideen? I would
with
like
the
to know
Indian
this.
Mujahideen. How is that fair? Let GVL Narasimha Rao respond.
हटाओ इंडिया अपने नाम से.
Oh,
BJP
come on,
for
Supriya,
India.
Supriya, you made an
हटाओ
argument. Now let GVL respond. GVL.
We are having no, Supriya, don't get upset, don't lose your cool. We are having a heated debate, but maintain some dignity. You can't shout me down. You can't ask me to
I
keep
will
quiet.
lose my cool because
You
my
are
brothers and sisters in
you are
Manipur
not
are
in the chair
suffering
today,
on
nor
your
are you
vote.
the anchor. Let Rahul decide, please. Okay, you have asked a question, Rahul. Let me answer this. I think nobody is, digital India or India used in a positive context, it certainly fills you with pride, every citizen of this country. But just by using name India, a terrorist organization does not gain respect. Indian Mujahideen does not become acceptable because they have a India in their name. A Simi doesn't become acceptable because they have India in their name. That is what Honorable Prime Minister was referring to.
Okay,
Your
let
opposition,
Sushmita Deb
which
counter
has no
this.
faith in India's
The
democracy.
Prime Minister
And
not
I can
obviously
cite you any
mocking
number of
the
occasions.
name India, but saying just because you use India doesn't make you a great patriot. Even the Indian Mujahideen has India, even Simi has India, even the Popular Front of India has India in it. So using the name India per se doesn't change anything. That's the argument GVL says the PM is making. Sushmita Deb.
Yes.
See, first of all, just because our party has an alliance called National Democratic Alliance doesn't change the fact that in the history of India is the most undemocratic party that this country has seen. So this can go about, but what is proved today by Prime Minister Modi talking about the new alliance formed by the opposition parties is the BJP's rattle, that he had to address it. And I want to tell GVL that India, the alliance, has a full form too. And number two, we don't need a certificate from Prime Minister Modi about what is patriotic and who's patriotic and what India stands for. Northeast Democratic Alliance in Northeast is now popularly called Northeast Disaster Alliance. Look at what happened in Mizoram today. Have you seen the number of people that have taken to the streets? Do you know how sensitive the states of Northeast are? They have undone, the BJP has undone the Northeast, what we have done over the last 70 years as a nation to bring back peace to Northeast. That's what the Prime Minister should be talking about. A Prime Minister who campaigns relentlessly in every state election doesn't want to speak in Parliament about a state line. There's no justification.
BJP's electoral success and the development that you've done in the Northeast was one of the BJP's big achievements. Are you concerned, GVL, that what we've seen over the past 90 days undoes some of what you've been trying to do in the Northeast and could be problematic in the elections next year?
No, Rahul, we are not even looking at that electoral dynamics now. We certainly have a challenging situation in Manipur, and it's nothing. Honestly, this region was had such problems in the past, and for 70 years there was no development. A friend from Trinamool Congress is claiming a lot of development has happened. No, the people of Northeast are experiencing development only in the last 9 years. Sushmita, which development are you talking about? Which there have been accords with practically, there has been peace all over Northeast over the last 9 years. But certainly,
this has happened on your watch, which is the point I'm making, that Manipur now undoes some of the good work that you've done in the Northeast. Okay, I want to go across to Rahul.
But you see, Rahul, people do understand. People of Manipur and rest of it's.
The problem with BJP and RSS is you all know nothing about Northeast. You just treat
No,
it
but
as
the real peace was established in Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram.
I want to go across to Rahul
Tripura,
Srivastava, National Affairs Editor. Rahul, you've got the opposition making the demand that the Prime Minister speak and nothing less is acceptable. The Home Minister now willing for a long discussion, willing to speak himself. That doesn't seem to be satisfying the opposition. Is there a possibility that there will be a way out tomorrow, the day after, or are we looking at a washout in the monsoon session?
Rahul, the opposition has found a strategy to get the Prime Minister to speak. Now that the demands of Prime Minister speaking did not succeed. See, primarily, Rahul, one should understand that the rule book does not say that the Prime Minister needs to speak on issues. It is the concerned ministry. If there is a question asked, Home Minister. But yes, it has been a precedent in the past and a tradition that Prime Minister do speak. Manmohan Singh, who did not have a lot of political authority in his party, spoke some 60-odd times on various reasons. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, largely more on motion of thanks for President, addressing while there are some issues like election of Speaker, Deputy Speaker, 30-odd times. The fact is that the Prime Minister is not duty-bound to speak on issues which are concerns of different ministry. But the fact remains that the opposition, struggling for so long to get the Prime Minister to speak, has found a strategy. It's most likely a draft is ready. Most likely tomorrow a no-confidence motion can be moved before 10 a.m. because if it needs to get listed or the Speaker has to take an opinion and decision on it, no confidence motion gets moved tomorrow morning.
That's largely symbolic. The no confidence motion, the last time it came was in 2003 when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was in government. That will get hammered in Parliament.
Yes, Rahul. They are not looking at the numeric triumph in this. They are planning that if there is a no confidence motion, the Prime Minister has to speak because it is a no confidence motion against the government.
No, but is the chair then duty bound to accept the no confidence motion? He can reject the no confidence motion.
Rahul, usually it takes a certain amount of time that if there has been no confidence motion 6 months, the government has proved its majority 6 months ago, then definitely it can be rejected. But if 50-odd members do sign a no confidence motion, it will be a tough ask for the Speaker to justify why he is rejecting. So the idea is not a numeric strength, but to get the Prime Ministers to speak and pin the blame of Manipur and a lapse in Manipur and law and order in the country on the Prime Minister. That's the ploy. I think that's where the opposition is going tomorrow. And one will
is that what you want to do, Supriya Shirnath? Press for a no confidence motion, even though the numbers are heavily loaded in the BJP's favor, because that then becomes the reason for the Prime Minister to have to speak at some point.
I think this country needs to hear its Prime Minister. There's a Prime Minister who occupies that chair, a Prime Minister who was democratically elected, a Prime Minister who may have abdicated his duty right now, but Manipur is burning, and whatever makes him speak, I think strategists in Parliament and my more senior colleagues are going to decide on that. But I think India deserves to hear its Prime Minister who hasn't spoken on Manipur, barring the 36 seconds that he spoke in the middle of an 8-minute, 25-second speech that he made outside
GVL Narasimha Rao, does this no confidence motion bother you? The fact that they're just upping the ante in a way that they're trying to tell their voters and those who are on the fence that the Prime Minister is running away, and this is a perception you don't want should get built. You in fact want to counter this completely. Is this no confidence motion something that the Speaker will accept? How do you see this, GVL?
Rahul, I think the opposition has the opportunity to use several such instruments. If they indeed move such a motion, I think they are actually shooting themselves in the foot. I personally think it would be a big astronomical blunder if they indeed go ahead and do this. I think it will be a huge blessing in disguise for us. And I'm hoping that they will take such a...
You know, the other thing that can happen, Sushmita Dev, you know, you do a no confidence motion, it gets accepted, and then the opposition gets hammered. You lose the no confidence motion so badly, and then the BJP, GVL, Ravi Shankar ji, everyone says, see, we have the confidence of the House, we have the confidence of the people, the opposition just making this big song and dance. They were trying to play politics, they've been beaten.
You know, Rahul, all you have to do is take Mr. GVL's and the Ravi Shankar Prasads of the BJP and please go to Manipur and see the total lack of confidence that the people of Manipur have in the Chief Minister of Manipur, the Home Minister of India and the Prime Minister of India. They have spoken out. The BJP MLAs of Manipur have spoken out against their own party, own Prime Minister and own Chief Minister. That's the lack of confidence people of Manipur have in this government of India and the government of Manipur. That's what Ravi Shankar Prasad and GVL should be worried about. Just because they have a brute majority in parliament, it doesn't mean it's something permanent, and neither does it mean that it exists in Manipur, and you can rest assured about that.
Okay, I'm going to leave it over there for the time being. We'll track what happens in parliament very closely. These political fireworks, some of them should really be happening in parliament. We have a high-level back and forth. Let's see what happens in parliament with this no confidence motion, if it does indeed get moved. You're on board the Newstrack. Monsoon mayhem is wreaking havoc in the south now, and Karnataka is one of the worst hit states. There's a flood-like situation in several coastal areas. Persistent heavy rainfall has disrupted normal life in the region, with many low-lying areas now submerged.
First, it was Himalayan states, then the national capital, followed by the Western India. And now it is the southern states that are bearing the brunt of nature's fury, with Karnataka being the worst affected. Several rivers in the state, including the Kaveri, are in spate due to incessant rainfall. In Kodagu, the Bhagamandala temple, a pilgrimage site for Hindus, is marooned by the overflowing Kaveri.
Bhagamangala temple is one of the most historic and ancient temples in Kodagu that attracts hundreds and thousands of tourists every year. And this is the situation, the road that actually leads to the Bhagamangala temple that is completely washed off by Kaveri river.
Water level in Harangi Dam has risen significantly, prompting officials to open all gates.
I'm standing at the Harangi Dam, which is located near Hudugur village, which is also next to Kushal Nagar. You know, the water level in this dam has significantly increased to the point that the dam is almost full. And as a result of this, the rate of outflow has also been sufficiently increased. It stands at about 8,000 cusecs. And as you can see the visual on your screens, all 4 crest gates have been opened up.
The district administration is on its toes as fears of floods increase.
The rains have been good till now. Landslides, no major landslides have taken place as of now. And not much of house damages also. They are partial in nature. And somewhere in the last 48 hours only, there are some places where the water has come up to the road level, and probably road is also not visible, but everything is under control till now.
In Udupi, a man slipped and fell into Arishinagundi waterfalls. Other parts of Karnataka, including Chikamagaluru, Dakshina Kannada and Hubli too, are reeling under tremendous rainfall. In Dakshina Kannada, images of students passing through knee-level water to attend pre-university exams are going viral. The Met Department says coastal Karnataka is expected to receive heavy rainfall in the upcoming days. Schools in several districts, including Uttara Kannada, Kodagu, Udupi and Dakshina Kannada, are shut on Tuesday. As Karnataka faces nature's fury, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar visited BBMP War Room and took stock of the situation. Over the last 2 years, parts of IT city have faced extreme flooding and state government hopes to avoid a repeat. With Anagha Keshav, Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the news track tonight. We'll track the no confidence motion if the opposition does indeed decide to bring it tomorrow morning. Thank you for your time and your trust. Rajdeep Sardesai comes up next with News Today.